guys, welcome to another video. I'm Rosemary Leyva. Today we're going to talk about something that I'm really excited to talk about, and that's boundaries. So boundaries are something that I've been learning a lot about lately. I really wanted to share this with you guys because I feel like it could really transform your life. First of all, what are boundaries? So it's the limits that you establish with the different people in your life. This could apply to relationships, it could apply within your family, it could apply at work, establishing boundaries between work and life. This is how we show people how to love and respect us. You know, they say that people are going to treat you the way that you show them how to treat you. It all starts with setting the right boundaries. Have you ever felt disrespected? Have you ever felt taken advantage of? Have you ever felt ignored or like you weren't being taken into account? That's probably because you weren't setting the right boundaries. You could have been too afraid to really speak your mind and let people know how you really felt about something. And this is okay, you know? It could be that you came from a family where maybe they didn't really teach you how to respect yourself, how to put yourself first. Perhaps they didn't set that example of having good boundaries themselves. One really important thing that I've learned about boundaries is if you want people to respect your boundaries, you need to respect their boundaries. For me, it's been a learning experience to not only honor my own boundaries, but honor other people's boundaries. It can be hard, you know, at first to establish boundaries, especially if you tend to be somebody who's like a people pleaser, you want to make other people happy. But again, this comes from a lack of self-worth. The only reason that we go out of our way to make people happy is because we want them to like and approve of us. You need to learn to approve and love yourself first because you come first. So now I'm going to tell you guys a few ways that boundaries can improve your life. Boundaries allow you to be your true self. When you're a people pleaser, when you're somebody who was probably taught to put other people first, you know, it seems natural to you. You just want to make other people happy, but what happens is that you make other people happy probably, but at the expense of your own happiness. And you feel depleted, you feel drained. It all comes from trying to be the way that you think other people want you to be instead of honoring yourself. When you establish boundaries, you get to honor yourself. And like I said, it can be a scary thing, but once you start showing your real self to the world, life just opens up for you in a whole new way. You realize that you don't have to be happy all the time. You don't have to be nice all the time. You don't have to be on all the time. You know, sometimes you're going to be upset. Sometimes you're going to be sad. Sometimes you're just going to feel tired, and that's okay. You know, the people that really care about you will understand that you need your space, that you need your time. Also, boundaries are a form of self-care. When you don't have clear boundaries within your relationships, you tend to put other people first. You tend to invest a lot of time in people. You go out of your way to help other people. Maybe you go out of your way to help your family. You know, if your family needs something, you're always the one that's there, or you're always the one that's listening to people. Maybe you don't really feel like they give that attention back to you. With boundaries, you learn to take care of yourself first. In the beginning, it can feel strange, like it can feel unnatural if you're not used to it, but the more that you pour that love and care into yourself, the better you feel within your life and the stronger you feel, and that way you can come from a place of feeling a lot more whole and integrated with yourself. Also, boundaries create safety because boundaries create physical and emotional safety, and they keep out what's uncomfortable to you. If you come from a family where they didn't teach you to establish boundaries, it could be that you notice that you're in uncomfortable situations all the time where people take advantage of you, or it could just put you in a dangerous situation where somebody could try to take advantage of you because they don't see you as somebody who has clear boundaries or somebody who speaks up for themselves. So it's really important to start practicing boundaries. Also, boundaries create realistic expectations so that you avoid resentments with other people. So sometimes people can expect things from you because maybe that's what they're used to, but when you establish clear boundaries with people from the beginning, then they know what to expect and they're not going to feel like you're going to be pleasing them all the time because you've made that clear. You've made your boundaries clear, you've established your limits. A few reasons why it can be hard to establish boundaries. The first one is fear. In the beginning, you're scared, you know? It can be scary because it's the unknown. It can feel like, you know, somebody's gonna retaliate and they're gonna be upset with you and, you know, it's gonna be like, you know, the end of the world. But it's not, you know? So you have to do it and you're gonna realize that you're just gonna feel a lot better about yourself. A lot of times I find that when you don't have clear boundaries and you're doing things to make other people happy, you end up with a weird feeling of like guilt, because you're almost like betraying yourself, you know, because you're pleasing the other person, but you're betraying yourself in a way. So it can be scary in the beginning to establish boundaries, but you end up realizing that it's not as bad as you thought it was. It could be as easy as just talking to this person. You know, if this person is your friend, maybe you can talk to them and just be like, hey, I feel like, you know, you call me all the time and you tell me the same things and you're always talking about your life and your problems, and I don't really feel like you pay that much attention to me. I don't feel like you listen to my things. You know, there's things that I would like to talk about as well. It could be that person might be like, oh, you know, I'm sorry that I always do this, I didn't realize, or, you know, thank you for telling me. And it could be that they could change this behavior. They can make a conscious effort to change. Or, you know, if they don't, then at least you can see that person for who they really are and decide that maybe it's better to cut this person out of your life. So now I'm going to talk about 5 ways that you can start implementing boundaries today to transform your life. The first point is know yourself. It's really important to really be in touch with who you are, to know your innermost thoughts, to know, you know, your light side, your dark side, to really know what you like, what you don't like. A lot of times if we grow up in a family where we're taught to be people pleasers, it could be that, you know, you kind of just go with the flow and you like to please other people. You know, if somebody asks you like, what do you want to eat? You're like, you know, whatever, it's fine. Whatever you want to eat is fine. Especially this could happen if you're in a relationship. It could be that you get really used to the other person and you like to make the other person happy. So if they like to eat something, you end up eating that. If they like to go to a certain place, a certain type of restaurant, then you go there because, you know, you just kind of go with the flow. But you look back and you're like, wait a minute, that's not what I wanted to do. And maybe the other person didn't even know. You know, they thought you were happy, they thought you were fine. You look back and you're like, no, that's not what I wanted. So it's really important to really know yourself, and you can do this through journaling, meditation. I find that moments alone, you know, traveling alone can really help to get to know yourself. If you're afraid to travel alone, maybe you should look into why you're afraid to travel alone. It could be something that could open a whole new world for you. Spending time alone, traveling alone, being with your own thoughts really helps you to connect with who you are. What do you want out of life? What are your morals? What are your values? What do you believe in? It's really important to be clear with yourself. And even if these things change, you know, at least you have that relationship with yourself where you identify what you like and what you don't like. Okay, the second point in establishing boundaries is really important, and this is to pay attention to the people who drain you and the people who energize you. So this could be in your workplace, it could happen in your friendships, in your family. You know, who are those people that make you feel great about yourself? I know I have certain friends that when I'm with them, I just feel, you know, I'm beautiful. They're constantly telling me positive things. They're giving me compliments. You know, of course, they also tell you the truth, even if it hurts, but they're in general just make you feel a lot better about yourself. You don't feel like insecure. You don't feel like you need to impress them. You don't feel like you need to be someone else. You feel like you can just be yourself. I also have had experiences with people who you just never feel good enough. You never feel like you say the right things, or you might feel like you're walking on eggshells. You might feel like you can't really speak truthfully to them because maybe they're not ready to hear it, or they just could be like negative people that are always complaining about the same things and not really doing anything to improve their lives, and that can affect you. So it's really important to establish boundaries with these people. You know, like I said, you could talk to them. If that doesn't work, then you could take some space from them and see how you feel without this relationship. One really important thing, and this is something that I really had to check myself, because like I said in the beginning of the videos, when you establish boundaries with other people, it's really important to be honest with yourself. Be aware of where you might be crossing other people's boundaries. One thing that I know I used to do a lot, and I still have to catch myself because I feel like it's just in my nature so much, I like to help people. A lot of times when a friend is telling me a problem, I automatically go into like fix it mode, and I'm like, well, you could do this and you could do that and you could write this, and I am already trying to like give them a whole solution, and it could be that this person just wants you to listen to them. They don't want you to try to fix their problem. They're not ready for that yet. They just want an ear. They just want you to listen. And I've had to like remind myself of that. Like, I don't have to fix everyone's problems. I don't have to solve everyone's problems. I don't have to, go out of my way to be there for people. I can just listen, and I can just give them that space and honor their boundaries. Like, maybe they'll look for a solution when they're ready. Maybe, if they actually ask you for help, if they ask you for your advice, if they ask you to help them fix something, then, you can evaluate if you want to be available for them. Okay, the next thing is be flexible. You don't have to be super rigid when you establish boundaries. Maybe in the beginning you might have to be, especially if you're somebody who probably is always there for other people. You might have to be like, wait a minute, okay, what's going on? I have to shift this. And you might have to actually take some time to be alone, to be with yourself, just really evaluate what it is you want from life. And you might have to put space with your relationships while you take that time for yourself, while you take that time to work on yourself, to take care of yourself, take care of your mental health first. And then you can come out feeling a lot more stronger, a lot more stable, and a lot more in touch with yourself. In the beginning, you might have to be a little bit rigid. Over time, you can be flexible if you feel that you might be a little bit too hard. You might be like putting too many boundaries on people. You don't want to isolate yourself either. Like they say, no man is an island. You do need other people. You need relationships. This is not about isolating yourself. This is not about like cutting everyone out of your life, unless you feel like you're in a chaotic environment where you might have to cut a lot of people out of your life. But it's not about that. A lot of times forgiveness and compassion can go a long way, especially with family, because a lot of times I think that it can be really easy to just stop talking to certain family members because they remind us too much of the parts of ourselves that we don't like. If you practice forgiveness, if you practice compassion, you find that you can heal these relationships. There's a really powerful meditation. It's a Hawaiian meditation. I've talked about it before. It's called Ho'oponopono, and you can look it up on YouTube. And it just basically says, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. It sounds like very simple, but it's a way that you can heal relationships with family members, or with people in the past that you still hold resentment, that you still feel angry. You can use this meditation to cut cords, to heal these relationships, because ultimately you're healing that part of you, those memories within yourself, and you're healing the relationship with yourself. The last thing I want to mention is to take a deep breath, pause, and really tune into how you feel. Take these times for yourself to be with your own thoughts, to be with your own energy. Take this time to really get clear about what you want, what you value in life, what you desire. Take this time to really be with yourself and let yourself have this time to really explore what it is that you would like out of a relationship. The more that you spend this time with yourself, the more that you get to know yourself, the more that you start to love and accept yourself, and you find that you don't need validation from other people. You don't need people to give you that self-worth. You can access that self-worth from yourself. You can create your own validation. You can approve of yourself, and you don't have to depend on relationships to give that to you. A lot of times we can become codependent of our partners, of our family, of our friends, and it's really important to catch ourselves and to be aware, are we being codependent? Do we rely on other people too much? This way, you're being honest with yourself and you're giving yourself that space to really evaluate if you still need these relationships in your life, where you're being disrespected. And remember, it all starts with you. You're the one that has to show people how to treat you, how to respect you, and you do that by establishing boundaries in a respectful way and by honoring and loving yourself, putting yourself first. I really love this topic of boundaries. Please let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you had any experiences with other people perhaps violating your boundaries, and how you were able to approach these people, how you were able to handle this. I would really like to know how it worked out for you, and if you would like to start establishing boundaries, if you have any questions, please let me know. Please comment down below. I would love to give you ideas on things that have worked for me. Thank you so much for watching another video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.